Have you ever heard the whispers on the wind out in the vast, open plains of the American West? They tell stories of a horse, a ghost on the horizon, a wild Mustang whose spirit was as untamed as the land itself. This isn't just a story about a horse. It's about the very soul of freedom, a legend known to ranchers and cowboys as the Phantom of the Plains. For generations, Mustangs have been a symbol of the wild, untethered heart of America. Descendants of horses brought by the Spanish, they carved out a life in the harshest of landscapes, becoming tough, intelligent, and fiercely independent. They move like water across the rugged terrain, their herds a testament to survival and community. But among these incredible animals, one stood apart. He was a magnificent stallion, a deep, shadowy gray that seemed to blend with the twilight, earning him his spectral name. The Phantom wasn't just known for his color. He was bigger, faster, and smarter than any horse the local ranchers had ever seen. He led his herd with an uncanny wisdom, always a step ahead of danger. Cowboys would see him for a fleeting moment, a silhouette against a fiery sunset, and then he'd be gone, vanishing into the canyons as if he were never there. His legend grew with every sighting, a mix of awe and frustration. He was the ultimate prize, the one horse that every seasoned wrangler dreamed of capturing. One of those wranglers was a man named Silas Blackwood. Silas wasn't a cruel man, but he was a proud one. In his mind, every horse had a purpose, and the horse's purpose was to serve man. He saw the Phantom not as a symbol of freedom, but as a challenge to his own skill and dominance. Capturing the stallion became his obsession, the one thing that would cement his reputation as the greatest horseman in the territory. Silas spent months, then years, tracking the Phantom. He learned the stallion's patterns, the hidden watering holes, the secret paths through the mesas. He set up intricate traps, using all his knowledge and cunning. Time and again he would get close. He'd see the whites of the Phantom's eyes, hear his defiant snort, but at the last second, the stallion would outsmart him. He'd lead his herd through an impossible pass or create a diversion that left Silas staring at empty dust. The chase became a duel of wits between man and animal. Silas, with his ropes and his strategy, and the Phantom, with his instinct and his unbreakable will to be free. The local community watched this epic contest unfold. Some cheered for Silas, admiring his persistence. Others, however, found themselves quietly rooting for the horse. They saw in the Phantom a spirit that shouldn't be caged, a wildness that was essential to the land itself. Finally, after one grueling winter, Silas's moment came. He managed to corner the Phantom and his herd in a box canyon. It was a perfect trap with no escape. Silas and his men moved in slowly, ropes ready. The marais and foals grew nervous, but the Phantom stood his ground, a defiant statue between his family and the men. He didn't run. He faced them, his powerful chest heaving, his eyes burning with a fire that no man could ever hope to extinguish. The struggle was immense. Ropes flew, and for the first time, one landed true. The Phantom fought with a fury that was terrifying to behold. He reared, he bucked, he threw off rider after rider who dared to try and saddle him. But numbers and exhaustion were against him. After hours of struggle, he was finally subdued, not broken, but physically overpowered. Silas had done it. He had captured the Phantom of the Plains. The stallion was brought back to Silas's ranch and put into the strongest corral, a circular pen they called the breaking ring. The news spread like wildfire. Silas Blackwood had the ghost horse. People came from all over just to get a glimpse of the legendary creature, but what they saw wasn't a defeated animal. They saw a king in chains. The Phantom stood in the center of the pen, head held high, his gaze fixed on the distant mountains he once called home. Silas began the breaking process, but the Phantom refused to yield. He wouldn't take a saddle. He wouldn't allow a rider near him. He met every attempt with raw, untamed power. Days turned into weeks. Silas tried every trick he knew. He tried kindness with oats and apples, but the stallion wouldn't eat from his hand. He tried force, but the Phantom spirit was stronger than any rope or fence. A strange thing started to happen. Silas, the proud wrangler, found himself spending hours just watching the horse. He saw the intelligence in those dark eyes, the loyalty the horse had shown to his herd, and the profound, silent dignity with which he endured his captivity. He was looking at a creature that would rather die on its feet than live on its knees. The obsession to conquer began to fade, replaced by a grudging and then a profound respect. One evening, as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, Silas walked to the corral alone. The phantom stood there, as always, staring at the horizon. Silas looked from the horse to the mountains, and for the first time he didn't see a prize to be won. He saw a kindred spirit, a being defined by its freedom. In that moment he understood. Breaking this horse wouldn't be a victory. It would be a tragedy. It would be like trying to bottle a thunderstorm or chain the wind. With a heavy sigh, Silas unlatched the gate. He didn't say a word. He just opened it wide and stepped back. The phantom stood motionless for a long moment, watching the man, a silent understanding passing between them. Then, with a powerful snort, he turned. He didn't bolt. He walked with regal grace out of the corral. He paused at the edge of the ranch, looked back at Silas one last time, and then he was gone. A gray shadow melting into the twilight, galloping back to the wild where he belonged. Silas Blackwood never tried to capture another wild Mustang. He became their staunchest protector, telling everyone who would listen that some things aren't meant to be tamed. The legend of the Phantom of the Plains lived on, but it had changed. It was no longer just a story about an elusive horse. It was a story about the man who was wise enough to let him go. A lesson that true strength isn't about domination, but about respecting the wild and untamable spirit in all living things. Thanks for watching. If you were moved by the Phantom story, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the heart of the wild. See you next time.